Good evening, everyone. My name is Julianne Hirsch, Chair of the Select Board. I would like to call the Select Board meeting for May 4th, 2026 to order at 6:32 p.m. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the provisions of the open meeting law and is being streamed live and recorded. Before we begin, I will state the members of the Select Board who are present in the room. We have Laura Zeiton, Mike Tejan, John Ray, and Jacob Jones. Now, first thing on the agenda is to move into executive session. So at this time, the board will enter into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss, 1, approval of meeting minutes from April 6th and April 10th, 2026, strategy with respect to collective bargaining with Northborough firefighters, Local 3057 IAFF, receipt of open meeting law complaint filed by attorney Leah Marie Baralt on behalf of the Firefighters Union against the town of Northborough, dated and received by the town of Northborough on Friday, April 17th, 2026, and consider referral to town council for response. Where discussion in open session may have a detrimental effect on the town's litigation position and the chair so declares. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Jacob, seconded by Laura. This vote will be taken by roll call. Laura? Aye. Mike?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Jacob?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion carries. We will enter into executive session and will return to open session following its conclusion.
Okay, all set. You're all set.
Okay, so we are now back in open session at 7:48, and we are moving, we're going to skip over the first two items on the agenda. We'll get back to that, but we would like to meet our new officer, Mr. Officer Griffin Petrucci.
Yes, correct.
So,
That's very good, very
we
good.
received a lovely letter from the chief telling us about your background and your education, which is amazing. So if there's, you want to say a few words?
Yeah, sure, yeah. I get to talk to Griffin's family out in the hallway. Very nice. This is his parents back here and his girlfriend over here.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome. And they come from the town of Ashby, and Griffin's 22 years old, graduated from North Middlesex Regional High School. He's currently enrolled at Fitchburg State, enrolled in the criminal justice program. And he graduates, let me get this right, May 16th
Correct.
with his
All right.
bachelor's degree. Yep, and then come May 18th, he's going to start the police academy, so not much time to celebrate the
I
bachelor's.
know.
Yeah,
know.
you graduate May 16th and you're
Right into it,
good stuff.
right into it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Might as well.
So, yeah, very nice. But we're here tonight to respectfully request the board appoint Griffin to a full-time police officer's position for the town of Northborough.
Any comments from the board? Well, welcome to Northborough. Are we still the safest city in the town in Massachusetts?
Last I knew.
Thanks to our police
Great.
officers. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, like why you chose this career?
Yeah, sure. So, like Lieutenant stated, my name's Griffin. I grew up in Ashby, Massachusetts. I've lived there all 22 years of my life. I've always wanted to become a police officer. I've wanted to be a police officer since I was very little. My mom was telling a story out in the hallway about how when I was little I'd always be a police officer for Halloween, and then after Halloween I'd always wear the costume wherever I went. So I've always had the dream of being a police officer. I've looked up to police officers. I've always had an interest in helping people. And I know that's why a lot of people get into this, but I've always found a satisfaction in helping people on their worst day, and seeing what a light at the end of the tunnel, what could be their worst day. Currently I'm an EMT. That's how I kind of got into it early, got my foot in the door as a first responder, and my end goal is to be a police officer for the town of Northborough.
Well, we're glad you chose our town.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Any other comments? Yep.
I just wanted to say thank you. This is a very honorable profession you're entering, and we're very grateful for your willingness to do so. There's, such a wonderful thing, and, it's certainly a position with great power, great responsibility, great amount of discretion, and, like I said, a very honorable choice, and I appreciate you stepping up.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just echo that, thank you for choosing a career in public service. And it just glancing over the note here from the chief, the memo, just seeing that you're graduating from the police academy on or around September 11th of 2026. And just seeing that date just reminds you of, I'm glad there's good people like yourself, joining the ranks of public service to run towards danger while others are running away. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to seeing you around town. Thank you so much for choosing Northborough, and I'm really excited that you've joined us, and thank you for choosing this career with us.
Oh, thank you. Great.
No. Hearing no other comments, do we have a motion to approve the appointment?
Madam Chair, I move that the Select Board appoint Griffin Petrucci
Correct.
as a police officer for the town of Northborough, contingent upon his successful completion of the police academy.
Second?
Motion made by Laura, seconded by Jacob. How do you vote, Laura?
Definitely aye. Welcome.
John?
Aye.
Jacob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
I vote aye, and I want to apologize again for the delay. I'm so sorry. Got a little,
Appreciate your patience.
We were testing your patience. You did well, very well.
and you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or you're welcome
I
to
would-
go and celebrate.
Get out while you can.
He's very intelligent. He's going to leave. Yeah. Welcome. Oh, yes.
Thank you so much. It's great to see you. Thanks for coming along.
I know.
Congratulations.
Oh.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for your patience, folks.
I think so.
Not right now.
Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
don't know when they're doing that.
Okay, so back to
Oh, that
number
would be
one,
nice.
which is public comment.
Uh-huh.
Any public comment? Oh, we have someone in the public offering public comment.
Who's really in the public. Hello, everybody. Well,
Remember, you have to name and address.
Lisa Maselli, 13 Maple Street, and I'm wearing a husky voice tonight just to make it really important. Sorry. Okay, I have a little comment to make about what went on at town meeting, and I wanted to give you a Gib approach. All right, I'm going to read an outtake from the MMA Select Person Handbook first. It says, leadership responsibilities. Effective leaders take up upfront visible roles both on a personal level and with the board as a whole. Leaders make decisions based on facts, data, and logic, even when these decisions are unpopular. They lead by example, not by words, power, or manipulation. They look to the root cause of problems. They recognize the difference between the right to take action and the wisdom of occasionally not taking action. Most boards are made up of citizens whose philosophies, priorities, and personal ambitions differ. An effective board devises ways to work cooperatively, but not necessarily unanimously, toward board common goals. Teamwork can be developed if individual select board members understand that effectiveness is not achieved by individual action, but by a select board acting in concert. A critical component of a healthy, productive board is respect among board members. It can take time to earn respect, but select board members can do this by speaking and acting in a consistently clear manner, demonstrating empathy and understanding, and owning one's mistakes and learning from them. Members must be willing to listen carefully to what others are saying and to disagree in a respectful manner that focuses on the subject and does not devolve into personal attacks. As a sitting select person, I was told that no single select person could conduct the board's business on their own. Consensus was the rule. Now that brings me to my concern. At the beginning of the third night of town meeting this year, a single member of the board who voted out of consensus decided on his own to ignore the process and present his own opinion to the town body. He explained his thoughts, quote, "Now at the select board meeting we had on the first night of town meeting on Monday, the board voted 4-1 to pass over this article. But I think there's a value in getting feedback, discussion, and vote from this body, or whether or not you think the board would have this authority," unquote. For the sake of discussion, I am in favor of board returning to the body for a final vote on any disposition of a public asset. But it was my understanding that no action was being taken on the disposition of 4 West Main Street that night, thus the reason to pass over. His individual action was alarming. The board makes its choices with consensus, but this process was not followed. And as a resident and former select person, I appreciate how process is to be followed. I do not appreciate a board member going rogue to control an article on his own, causing another resident and former select person to speak the action with, quote, "Finding out about this through rumoring is not the best way to find out about something like this, and having a vote take place at the 11th hour seems a little suspect," unquote. There was a reason to pass over the article as the action was incomplete, but there was no reason to equate the decision to pass over as suspect. This passover does happen from time to time. What worries me about the rogue behavior of Mr. Tejan and the resident who currently running for select board seat remarked at the 11th hour seems a little suspect. To me, all seems a little suspect. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Mike?
Just through the chair, Madam Chair, just because usually people are watching earlier on in the evening, I wanted to ask if the board was okay with me making a public comment regarding a Peasley Building Committee meeting tomorrow night, very briefly.
Sure.
Okay. So Peasley Building Committee will be meeting tomorrow night at 7 PM via Zoom. It's going to be an important one because we actually have some rough preliminary numbers on the options, the design options. So I know a lot has been talked about Peasley. The committee appreciated the time at the beginning of town meeting to present, got a lot of surveys completed, which is great to get public input. But I think if people wanted to tune into one, this would be a good one because we're starting to get some numbers, granted preliminary, but you're starting to see sort of what a possible Peasley project could start costing and want to make sure we bring as many people along for that ride as possible. That survey is also still open till the end of June. You can go on the website, on the Northborough Town website, Boards and Committees, Peasley, and then on the left, it says the 5-minute survey. So it'll be open through the end of June for people to continue to complete. So that's all. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anyone, does anyone see anyone? Okay. All right, then we can move on to approval of meeting minutes. Okay, let's do March 9th. I have a couple questions about March 23rd, so if you don't mind, can we do March 9th separately? Jacob, first of all, March 9th, are there any corrections, amendments, anything? Okay, then is there a motion to approve March 9th minutes?
I move to approve the meeting minutes of the Select Board of our March 9th open meeting as presented.
Second, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mike. Laura, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Jacob?
Aye.
I vote aye. Okay, the next one, March 23rd, it's just a little thing, but on page 7, where we were talking about the commercial vehicle parking bylaw amendment, it says in the second to the last paragraph, second sentence, Traffic Safety Committee Chair Scott Charpentier. He's not the Traffic Safety Committee Chair.
No.
So should it just say,
Staff liaison.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And the other thing is the vote on that. Mike, how did you vote on that?
On the, well, there was moving it forward, and then there was the final vote of support. So I voted to move it forward, but then on the final vote of support, I was a no vote.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
so it
I
was
noticed
all-
that too, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh, wait, no, that was the, we'll get to those minutes, I guess, next meeting.
Okay, great. All right, so I have no other corrections. Does anyone have any corrections or amendments? Okay, then can we have a motion on March 23rd?
I move that the board vote to approve its meeting minutes of the open March 23rd, 2026 meeting as amended by the chair a couple seconds ago.
Second.
So motion made by Jacob, seconded by Laura. Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Jacob?
Aye.
Laura?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, now, item number 4, annual town meeting recap and discussion of potential fall meeting. There's a lot of
I mean, at
Comments
this
about
point, I
fall.
don't think we, in moving on in the future. Oh, I thought you meant this upcoming.
no, number 4.
Okay,
We're talking about,
yeah. No, I was thinking zoning, the zoning articles.
okay. So let's go around the room and talk about what we thought could make town meeting move a little faster, maybe 2 days versus 3. So, Laura, do you have any thoughts?
Definitely a lot of feedback from folks that it was too long. I also love the participation that we have because it is less than we really need. I don't know how to efficiently, I think we need to maybe pull some of the surrounding towns because I know that Joan Frank had gotten up and talked about how Southborough does it. There's some interesting strategies, so I'm happy to take a closer look at that. And as far as the time goes, the two biggest things for me were the amount of time and then how to increase attendance and make it available to everybody. I know that there was some feedback from people from an accessibility perspective that was challenging, but those were my two thoughts on that one.
Yeah, there was, Did you and Damien and I have a quick conversation about?
Yeah, we did, and we provided the person a phone number, and they never called or tried to set up anything afterwards, so.
But also, what is the state going, I mean, are they looking at allowing remote participation? What does the future look like?
No, remote as in, if you could possibly have, but this is where we run into trouble, amendments in things like that. So it's like, you could be on the phone with somebody, like, how do you vote on article da-da-da, and they'll tell you, but then if there was an amendment, it's so complicated that for one person, maybe we could do it, but if we had like 5 people, I don't think we could do it appropriately.
Or hundreds.
Or
Or hundreds, right. Yep.
Okay, any other?
No, I was just like, I hope we get 400 to a regular town meeting.
Well, we did.
Yes.
We-
There was so much enthusiasm around White
It was
Cliffs.
so awesome, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and that would be kind of my follow-up point is, possibly, more than likely next year with Peasley, a Peasley project probably coming in front of town meeting, that might solve, right, our
Yeah.
turnout problem, at least for the night that it's on.
Right.
So those big projects like White Cliffs, like Peasley, that's what brings people into the seats. I know people don't like another committee to look at something, so maybe I'll call it a working group instead. But, I do think we need some group of person, whether it's something, Stephanie, that you take on as town administrator and kind of see where you want to go with it, to figure out what other towns are doing, kind of figure out what works, what doesn't. I think the citizens petitions, although a lot of them were turned down, I think did have merit in that, let's look at sort of how we can maybe change things or make things, in just the runnings of town meetings and our bylaws cleaned up, more direct, without changing the power dynamic between, say, moderator and town meeting. But, we're doing bylaw code and review and all
Yep.
that, so maybe we get to the head of the list on that one or hit that first.
Yep.
Just kind of some other things, like I know, I think it was Joan Frank in the meeting brought up how, I think it's Southborough uses that consent agenda or calendar format, where you're kind of looping together things as you go that nobody has a question on, and then voting on that all at once.
So you do it by a table. So
Right, right.
List everything, and then if somebody wanted to hold on item A or item D, then you hold, and then you can have a more engaged
Yeah, just
conversation.
something to take a look at, sitting in a lot of Northborough town meetings, that sounds completely alien to sort of how we do things and how people would expect it to go, but,
Right.
again, kind of all options on the table type thing.
Yep.
I would say I liked the video presentations that were done. I know we had them kind of playing in the background, right, when people were talking, but I kind of wonder to maybe shorten presentations even more and have them sort of presented as video only, and then the department head there to answer questions, so it's
That's not a
very-
bad idea,
It's very controlled, very short.
because
There's
it's
visual-
controlled and you don't go off script,
You don't
you
go-
know?
right.
I know what you're saying, yeah.
So I think that would be good, maybe important to, because some of the presentations can go long.
Yeah.
Not pointing anyone out, Jason, but, trying to get it, tighter in that regard. And also, and this isn't against anything on the planning board and the things that they brought, but, we knew we had a number of citizens petitions. We knew we had a lot of articles. Did we maybe need to, did we really need to bring forward sort of maybe a couple, I think the data center one got a lot of public comment and a lot of back and forth. I think that was definitely useful. But, the hedge height, fence height, the donation bins, like, could that have possibly waited for another town meeting, or some town meeting down the road to get to, because we had so many articles and had some big items in there. And then talking to some other people, it just kind of seems, the town meeting format's obviously been around a long time. I don't think anybody's really talking about getting rid of that, but I kind of wonder, are there sort of generational differences, especially with maybe folks, younger than us? Like, how is town meeting going to play with them? And sort of, I think this isn't something we can fix. I think this is something the state legislature, the
Right.
governor, needs to take a look at and needs to do some statutory, some law changes to at least give towns some flexibility to experiment. Give us the ability to do and try some different things, let towns figure out what works, what doesn't, and they can start implementing some new things. I don't know what that is, but I feel like this format, especially as the years tick by, unless you have a high ticket item like a school, like a White Cliffs, which we're not going to have every year, thankfully, hopefully spending, those kinds of money, but that you just, you'll run into this issue. So that's kind of my overall
Or
thoughts. I know it's kind of a
futuristic,
laundry
yeah.
list there, but thanks for,
So basically, though, you're saying that, because when would planning board do their articles, that you're kind of in favor of a fall town meeting, two town meetings?
Yeah, I don't know. My issue on the fall is just worried about, especially for just planning articles. I mean, if it's a one-nighter, you'd probably get a quorum, but that would be my thing, is attendance and who's showing up and who's approving them. I think to try, I kind of, and this is just my preference, is I still like the idea of getting it done one in the spring rather than splitting it, unless you have, like we tried to do White Cliffs in the fall, but it didn't work out for something special. And just maybe trying to see what's within our control to try and help shorten it, whether that's presentation length and things like that. The number of articles as best we can, trying to reduce it, not just this board, but other boards, if at all possible. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And I think long-term structurally, I think there's going to have to be some review from the Commonwealth level to give us some opportunity and tools to try and do some different things, not just in Northborough, but other places.
Jacob, your thoughts?
Yeah, thanks. Those are great ideas from Laura and Mike. I kind of agree with everything you're saying, especially like the idea, because I didn't know Southborough did it that way. I've got friends there, but they never told me the nitty gritty of their town meetings.
No.
And I'm like, because I had suggested a few times that several of these articles we could probably put together, again, do we pay our debt? Do we pay our last year's bills? Like, should we appoint a deputy moderator? Like, there's several things that even without much argument, you're gonna get 98% support. And so I really think we should look closely at maybe not doing exactly like they do, because of what Mike said, we may have a little bit of growth concerns in adapting to a change. Change is hard, so let's be modest, I guess, in our change perhaps. But I think that could save some time. Big picture wise, I always think about it like we're not going to take 3 days down to 2 days or 13 hours down to 8 hours unless we do it 2 minutes at a time. It's like the elephant.
I think we could do 2 days.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, but we're not going to get from where we are to where we need to go unless we can focus on things that'll save 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, 3 minutes there, 12 minutes there. And so it's like, yeah, well, that only took 30 seconds. Well, 30 seconds multiplied by 300 times, that's a lot of seconds. So one big one, now this is not on time savings as much as it is on participation, because I think both are really, really, we all agree, super important. It would be really interesting to me if we could figure out an estimate of what cost to the town it would take to have some kind of childcare provided.
So we had it and only 2 people registered.
Didn't even know we had it, and I'm on the select board,
It was
so.
Yeah, where was
No,
that information?
It was everywhere. It was,
Well,
We don't go
We
everywhere.
had it this
I
way.
apparently look in the wrong places then.
I signed my daughter up a few years ago when they did it, when they were doing the athletic fields.
Yeah.
There were kids there for an hour, and then my daughter was really upset because she was the last kid there at like 9 o'clock. So we did have it there. It was for a real family-centric event. It was at Peasley, and it was a big investment. But I don't disagree with you, but just,
So
nobody
we-
responded here.
we started early on, we got permission from the schools, it was for free because the rec, Ally Lane was running the babysitting for annual town meeting. And so it was all through the school. everybody got notified, and there were still 2 people.
So maybe that was a big miss by me, because I feel like I really would have wanted to know that. I might have been able to bring some of my kids and got my spouse there, but, you know, and it's not about me, but it's about a lot of.
One vote.
Yeah.
a lot of- we know that one vote could change the outcome now.
Yeah. We'll try it
But,
again.
so I'm happy to hear we're thinking about and trying it. Maybe it's a messaging and communications thing that we can improve. I'm not criticizing how it was done. I'm just saying wherever I'm looking isn't where I saw the information, so I maybe am not the only one. But the other thoughts that I had, and maybe these have already been had, was we do have the preschool, I don't remember the name of the course, at the high school.
Oh, at the high school,
My son was a participant, and I think it's a super program, and maybe there is, maybe there isn't, but I don't know unless I ask, an ability to give those students some extra credit opportunity or some volunteer hours opportunity if they're willing to. No one can make them do it, but have them be part of the workforce, so to speak, to help manage, because if it's successfully deployed, you could have quite a few kids of various ages, and you'd want to have activities for different age groups. We do our attorney retreat, and we have hundreds of kids of different ages, and they have different groups. Anyway, I'm not trying to micromanage how to do childcare here, but the point is it would be interesting to me to know maybe what that cost us to the town, because my second piece to that is, I bet you if we had like a really well advertised, planned out version of this, we could also probably ask for some businesses to sponsor and be like, childcare sponsored by blah, blah, blah.
Well, so it was a nominal fee that rec was charging.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd love to be able to do it for free, even if it was nominal. I understand
What-
Yeah.
it was probably more than reasonable compared to what normal babysitting costs, but
Right,
it'd
yeah.
be great if we could provide it for free, since we're in the mode of trying to increase civic engagement.
what age group were you offering?
I think it was,
Up to 10 or something?
well, the thing is, the babysitters had to leave by 10 because of their age. I think they were 16 or 17.
Oh, especially if they're driving.
So 10
themselves.
o'clock is the cutoff time.
Is
Yeah.
it worth doing a poll, like, of our friends, because we've got kids of a variety of ages?
To see
Put
if
some, like,
they
just
would
like
use
a survey
babysitting.
to see if that would increase participation.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's the solution, but I'm saying, could we study it a little bit? I don't think we need to form 10 committees to study it.
No.
I mean,
Yeah, well, no, and she was very surprised, too.
yeah. Well, I'm sorry I missed out, because I probably would have been one of the big
I
advertisers
don't,
of it.
just to be clear, did we have childcare offered this past town meeting, or
That's
just
what
this?
you're saying.
You're saying the one we just had this town meeting?
Yeah.
We offered it, and there were only 2 people that signed up, so she had to cancel it.
I don't think
You
anyone knew
didn't
that.
see it either?
I think our kids are too old.
No, I don't think.
They're doing e-backpacks.
But
and
how would I guess, I mean, I'm pretty engaged as a select board member, like how?
I saw the ad on Facebook. I don't know if it was on the town's page, but that's where I saw it.
Yeah, I can find out the information
Okay.
And then saw the follow-up that they canceled it. for no
of
participation.
where exactly it was posted, but I know school-wise, absolutely, too.
Yeah, so that's just one area, and I'm sorry if it's been explored in the past and ineffective. I think it's worth taking a good look at. Anything we can do, because I understand the concerns about, in folks who want to be able to participate remotely or mail in a ballot or something. This isn't a mail-in ballot situation, because what's on the warrant may not be what's voted on. And the purpose of town meeting, one of them is to be able to engage in a discussion with your neighbors. And you can't do that on a mail-in basis very well.
Okay.
One other thing was, this would have to be a bylaw change, but like really, I cannot think of a time when moving the question saved anyone any time. So,
Sorry, what was that?
moving the question
Oh, moving the question.
never saves time. Only causes more confusion and an additional vote. The better approach, from my perspective, is moderator, putting reasonable limits on repetitive comments, or especially especially multiple comments from the same person, which is provided for in our bylaws. They can do that. And as he did a few times, I think, mentioned that if you're just saying the same things, I'm going to shorten you from your 3 minutes to shorter. I think that's an appropriate way to deal with getting to the question. I think moving the question is problematic for two reasons. One, we seem to take 5 minutes to set up the moving the question vote and be confused about what we're doing with it, which doesn't save a lot of time in my view. And then secondly, sometimes we're cutting off someone with a new point, and then that's going to make them pretty frustrated.
Which we saw.
It's happened to me before, and it's happened to other people before, and I really sympathize with that.
It's a tough one.
So I'd like to just
I mean, you could move the
eliminate
question.
moving the question.
I mean, you could move the question with no debate. Just have someone second it and you never talked about it. Like, that moving the question created a lot of, I felt the same thing. I felt specifically the people that aren't coming up every time to talk. You have that person waiting and that hasn't, and I want to hear what they say. Like, imagine if that woman that came with the recycling bin ideas wasn't able to talk to us or the town and let her know things that we didn't know, as opposed to like people just saying, yeah, what they said, and I agree strongly. And you're like, oh, great, someone said that. Like, and the usual suspects, and a lot of them attend our select board meetings. So it's like, how do we get better than that?
So
Anyway, that
what
would
were
require-
your other
sorry,
thoughts?
go ahead.
Oh, Jacob, did
No,
you
that
finish?
was yield the floor, as it says.
John gets Jacob's time now.
Thank you. Too many articles. 63 is too many. I remember coming here when there was a 3 in front of it, maybe a 4 and a low digit after it, so too many articles. Also don't agree that warrants that don't have the support of select board and committees shouldn't make it there. And Steph should be like, department head, we shouldn't present this. And Horace should say, yeah, we probably shouldn't do this on the sport. Because I have seen departments come in for other committees and say, well, I would like to come in and talk about doing the bathrooms over at Assabet, but only if you guys support it. Okay, well, we didn't, and that never made it. So that should be the same for their budgets. If those committees and the select board who spend all this time on it don't support it, that's a pretty strong signal. And it all comes back to the problem statement. We have 160 people making decisions for 12,000. 1.3% of the population is making the decisions, right, wrong, or indifferent. I don't love old-timey government, but some people here do. That's cool. But I just like a way to make it work better. So it's low and it's unrepresentative attendance of what the actual community is. So when I talk to people that are not of that demographic, that aren't at town meeting, they're shocked at how close these votes are. I'm like, well, you can't complain, you didn't go. And by the way, vote next Tuesday. like these are the conversations you need to have, right? Concord and Wayland are exploring remote. I will lean in on technology if there's a way to get remote. I know it's hard and there's things you have to do, but if there's a way to attend town meeting without being in that building and have your vote count, I don't care how we figure it out. And you have the right to influence when you're in that. Like, I don't want to take comments from whatever forum you had, but the benefit you get of going to town meeting at that point is you can influence, your voice is heard. But everyone, we need more than 1.3% of Northborough making decisions about Northborough, because it's got a bunch of like white old people that are doing it. So, and I'm
Okay.
51, so I'm in there too.
I know you had other things, but I have to ask you about Concord and Wayland. Are they representative governments? Because
No,
that
they're
would-
not. So Belmont is. So I was emailing Belmont back and forth. They're not. They're trying to change the way that government works for government structure that looks like ours.
Oh, okay, good.
That's their goal. Now, if Northborough could publicly support that or think about it, I would love to be part of that. I think that would be progress. They're not representative governments. Representative governments have hybrid capability right now. They're trying to extend like Shrewsbury and Belmont and other towns.
Yeah, because it's a smaller group making the decisions,
Yeah.
but they're supposed to represent quadrants or something.
Yeah, so,
Okay, great.
so I'm pretty passionate about that. The presentation length too long. I like ideas about just play the video, roll the tape, budget and fire vehicles. Fire vehicles went too long. We had this preamble. I'm like, we're gonna get to the question? So 12 minutes to ask for a fire vehicle is probably too long. Put articles together that are no-brainers. I'm in on that. And I'm skeptical on the babysitting. Just because the people that are going aren't going to want their kids in that building from 6 to 10, 10:30, it's like, how do you get babysitting that works for people's lives? Because a lot of this time is putting their child to bed. My daughter's 14 years old and she goes to bed at 9. and she's 14. So now
John, let her stay up a little later.
she does it to herself. No, but she's like, I'm going to bed. But an 8-year-old isn't a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old. Like, this doesn't. I mean, I get it. Unless we go to a Saturday town meeting, and then just the last point. If there's, I am open-minded about, breaking up the fall and the spring planning board with some stuff that we would want to just catch in that cycle to see if we could do it. Quorum's the issue there. Can you get quorum? But I would much rather do, and I think you could do planning board in a night. But those are the things that I'd like to try to figure out how we can make some progress on.
Well, good comments.
Yeah, I got him.
You have something else?
So unrelated to the topics that we've had before, so if you've got processor feedback, I've got one more thing to add.
Oh, go ahead.
So before town meeting, there was tables set up with a variety of different organizations. I don't know if it was moderator who decided it or who got invited. There were some town committees and then there were some non-town committees. So I would like it, if it's going to be before town meeting, I think we need to decide if it should be just town relevant or if it should be other groups. And we've got to work in tandem with the moderator, but I thought it was confusing.
So Damien clarified that for me today. The town meeting is ours until the moderator
Okay.
starts. So I guess that would be up to us, and I know what you're talking about. One group, Community Affairs, asked permission from everyone.
Yeah.
But then the other group that was there, I don't know how, like, did they just set up?
Would
It
like
was
to
the
have some
Housing
control
Coalition.
over that.
I see, a lot of people went straight through the moderator.
But it sounds like it might be something that should go through us. So I would like to,
Well, I think we need to have a policy on that. It's, should it only be town committees that can have information tables? Should it be anybody? And that could be a circus, but we need to have a meeting about that.
Yeah.
And set a policy. So it's fair for all.
yep,
Would you agree?
yes, please.
Nod your heads.
Yes.
I hope I could be a part of that.
Okay. All right. So I had a couple of things, sort of more about smaller things, but I wonder, and this is actually for the moderator, but should applause be allowed? It kind of, it makes people uncomfortable. Like if I was applauding and my friends were applauding for a certain article, and somebody else wanted to say something, different, is it intimidating? And I guess that would be a conversation to have with the moderator. But is everyone comfortable with that, or is it just me that?
I mean, you saw me applauding several times, so I think it's a good way to express a feeling without screaming and yelling at each other. Which is what we don't want to be having.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a free speech guy, and so I think applauding is an appropriate way to express a feeling. So that's just my 2 cents, but I could see why you might think it's intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, I could see your point. Like you'll see like debates on TV and stuff like that, and they ask people to withhold applause, but then they applaud anyway. So I get that and I understand it, but I kind of more towards the free speech argument. Are you gonna? How do you enforce it? You know what I mean? Like you can ask people, obviously, which you do, to be respectful and to maybe respectfully. Well, you don't want to tell them to. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I think even if you tried to not have applause, it'd be tough to enforce because sort of then you're having groups of sort of what do you do then? You know what I mean? And then it's like if you can't do something, that's when somebody wants to do it. So I could probably would lean maybe towards the speech piece that some light applause that's respectful and not not a ball game is appropriate. And most people do act appropriate and we expect them to.
Oh, of course, yes, but it just like for me personally, I would feel intimidated to go up with a different opinion than after a whole bunch of people were applauding for something. So, and anyway, I do think that that's up to the moderator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we were talking about consent agenda and move the question. I thought we were going to have a cheat sheet. Like, what does consent agenda actually mean? And
Yeah.
when you move the question, because, so I move the question, we have to vote on moving the question, then we vote on the article. And I think a cheat sheet that explains, why are we voting twice on this? One to move the question, one to vote on the article, right? So.
Well, no,
would that
that's
be-
because it wasn't set up like a consent agenda to begin with. It was separate articles, so that's why we had to go through those two motions. But like somebody brought up Southborough, you'd have a table, let's just say it was on DPW capital items, so it would be like street sweeper, X amount of dollars, truck, X amount of dollars. So the article would say, would you vote to raise and appropriate $1.2 million for the capital items below, but they would be sectioned like A, street sweeper, B, blah, blah, blah. So then you'd be given directions, you can hold on any letter, like B, I want to hold on B. So you could take the vote on anything that wasn't held, and what was held, you separately discussed, just like we do now. Well, that's why it's so lengthy, our process. In Holden, we didn't do that. We had a consent agenda for all of our capital items. People would read through, it's a chart, it would be, and you could do it with explanations and whatnot, we didn't, but it was like, fire truck, X amount of dollars, A, so you could just hold on certain ones.
So I think people would need an explanation, just
Which
insert
we
it
would
into
do
the warrant.
also ahead of time,
Yeah,
before town
yeah.
meeting too, just to get people educated. Yep, you're right.
How would that work with the presentations? You roll the tape, you do the presentations for the 8 things, and you have the 8 things with underneath.
And we
it.
could put the chart on the screen too, so people could see, street sweeper, X amount of dollars. Is there anybody, I forget, but basically will you vote for da-da-da, or does anyone want to hold? And then people would they'd walk up to the microphone and say, I'd like to hold on B, whatever item it is. And so then that wouldn't be part of the consent vote. That would be separate.
And I could just go up and say, I want to hold on B, and it's automatically held?
Yep, so that's taken out.
So
So now you're voting on A, C, D.
Oh, wow.
And then you present on the ones held.
Correct.
But you don't present on the ones not held.
No, not unless somebody wants you to present. And you could, even if you might not want to hold it, but you might want more information, you get up to the microphone. But 9 times out of 10, most people will be okay with some of the articles there. And you know what? It's on them if they don't want to hear more about it. We would have the same packets that we have now. Here's the, picture of the item, here's the explanation, here's da-da-da. So they have the literature, but they just wouldn't have, they wouldn't be separated article by article by article, which is what takes so long.
Jacob?
Love this idea. And it would be helpful to communicate ahead of time what the recommendations are, to the extent applicable. But to me, it would be presumably only things that everyone unanimously recommended would be on this list, because if someone didn't, there's probably an objection and maybe someone wants to know why. So that would maybe be something to think about when forming this list, which we had plenty that fit that.
Right.
That
Like
saves
we would
plenty of
never
time.
do the Z school, for
Right.
example, as
Oh,
part
sure.
of a consent agenda.
Or
because
Peasley, what we're about,
Right.
But, yeah, so anyway, there were a lot that everyone unanimously supported, or maybe there was one abstention, which is still technically a unanimous vote of the voters, so. I like the idea. The other thing, I think that if we go that direction, it may take a little bit of learning, but I think folks will get the idea that, wait, you mean we can save a ton of time if we just do our research ahead of time? Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but because we'll still have the same videos going out ahead of time, and we'll
Yeah.
still have the same information available. Obviously, it's still being discussed in all the boards and committees that no one listens to, it seems like sometimes. But if you're like, well, gee, do I want to be the one person with that makes a whole presentation go on this? I don't know. I second, the people may
And now they're applauding.
People may better weigh the value of the time saving versus how important they thought their comment or question really was. We of course want people to be able to get their questions answered and not feel like they're getting stuff jammed. But I think it's something to look at. Yeah.
I worry. It's really your first time meeting to get up with a microphone is a big deal. It is scary. And I worry about creating an environment that doesn't enable that. I do agree with the speed and this other stuff. And then I think about the articles that, we had 2 really close votes this year, and anything that put those close votes under more scrutiny would be a harder outcome for if you didn't support that vote, just because. And if it felt like you didn't understand the process or wasn't an environment where you felt like you could talk, or you weren't, I worry about that a little bit in terms of, I see the value in it. I'd have to really think about it a bit more carefully, but that's the downside of it in my mind.
But then it's on the person.
I don't love that answer though. That's on
No,
someone.
I'm saying if they had interest in asking questions, they had the floor. They could have asked questions.
Yeah, but John's point is that we're kind of all used to speaking publicly, but even, in front of town meeting, it's still a huge audience, and it's a little intimidating to say, on this consent agenda, I want to hold B, and then
Well, they could have a friend come with them.
But that is kind of what town meeting is, though, right? I mean, it is sort of that messiness of getting up in front of people
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
whatnot. So, I mean, that's kind of part of the territory.
part of the fun.
And John said a concern that I agree with and want to be careful about is the not wanting someone who's already shy but has a legitimate concern to feel silenced. My partial counter to the concern is anything that ended up being a close question. To me, it would be pretty hard to be one of those close question things and have been a unanimous support up until that point. In other words, everything that was a close question on this town meeting, from my analysis, wouldn't have even been suggested to be on the consent agenda to begin with, because we would have stopped it from being on it, because we would look at the record of the recommendations and say, nope, that's not appropriate to be on that list. We'll already plan to break that one out.
Well, I don't know if I believe that, because we put some DPW articles together where 2 were unanimous and 1 wasn't. We didn't break those
Right.
apart.
But at the reverse of that is if we're saying, well, because these articles didn't get majority support from boards, let's not bring them to town meeting. Some of those had fairly close votes.
But it's hard to tell in the sense that, I'm talking the DPW articles.
Right.
It's hard to tell because they were put together. So you may have 2 that were pretty easy, that were unanimous among the boards and the committees, and one of them was a bit more split, but still.
No, I know what you mean. So they had to vote all or nothing.
So
Or, all
Break
or
the
nothing.
question, and no one did.
So I'm kind of taking 24 to 26 of this year off of the table of what I'm thinking about, because from my perspective, that's not a consent agenda thing, because that's the opposite of consent agenda. Because the consent was to vote no. Consent agenda would be, in my view, things which there is like overwhelming yes support. So you wouldn't have that come up in the idea that I'm thinking about. So maybe I'm saying it badly, but like you wouldn't have a consent agenda to say no to something. You would have a consent
Right.
agenda to be like, pay our previous tax bills.
Well, not necessarily like that chart I'm talking about, all the capital like Southborough does. You have every opportunity to say, no, extract B or
Yeah.
extract C.
Sure.
So that's different than the way Article 24, 25, and
Agreed.
26 was,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what
Yeah.
I'm saying is that's not a good example to
Right,
compare
I
what
know
we're
what you
talking
mean.
about. I think we're saying the same thing.
Okay, yep.
And yeah, what I was just trying to say was kind of thinking about it in the reverse, right? So the articles that were close, like Blake, like the DPW stuff, didn't get majority supports out of a lot of the boards. And you could make an argument like we did before, well, then they shouldn't have made it to town meeting, but then town meeting voted very close. So it's just to be careful on even though something may not get board support, it got, fairly, it didn't get the majority and passed, but it got a lot of support at a town meeting,
Out of a
so.
non-diverse pool.
Right, but that's
That-
town meeting.
I know it's overrepresented for things that are dangerous. When you talk to your neighbors, you're like, oh, really?
I did find it was interesting too, because the other ones that we had agreed on passed overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
So I think we call it a tie, but a tie is not resounding support. And I think that there's more weight in that tie than there is in the overly approved projects.
Okay, so we have
Sorry.
a hand up and a hand up, but first I want to hear from Stephanie.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts?
Oh, so I had a lot of the same thoughts. These are just little ones, but when voting on articles, put the motion on the screen. The moderator was reading the article, but it's much easier to read the motion. Do not print motions in the warrant, because that, we run it, and I've never seen motions on warrants before, so, but the Northborough always did it. You do not have to do it. You shouldn't do it, because you could change your motion, or things could change.
Safe paper.
Yeah. Educate on consent agendas ahead of time. And those are just notes from the meeting. Yeah, and then the majority of what you all said.
Okay, so Susan Sartori, I see your hand up, but we have someone in the audience who had given me the little wave. So Lisa, do you have any suggestions for us?
Thank you, Lisa Maselli, 13 Maple Street. One of the things that we had talked about a few times was to make the warrant in advance so that people could read it prior to the town meeting, like a week or 2 weeks in advance. I know they do it in Arizona, because when I was living there, we would get it, and all the information would be there. So you'd know in advance, before you went to the meeting, that you could ask questions to wherever it is that you need to ask questions for. And they had more advanced knowledge than just walking into the meeting. So it helps to make a better choice. And the other thing I thought we were going to do was to have, if you vote yes, this is the result. If you vote no, that is the result. And I think that's very important, because, again, most people don't understand the effect it has on your levy limit, and I kept bringing that up. Like, that's important to understand even what it is. So sometimes in the booklet that goes out, you have definitions of what's the levy limit. What are we talking about? If you do A, B will happen. And I think that's where people forget that it's about, really, we're here to get what you'd like, but we have to do it within a small allowance. Because I think a lot of people just think, oh, I want that, but don't think, well, how am I going to have to pay for that? So that would be my suggestion.
Good point, thank you.
We did have, we had all of the articles, as much as we could, shot and put on the website, so it would help understand how the article came to be, why it's needed. And then the library also had an amazing, Jen did a great job, the director. It was bits and pieces from every single meeting, whether it would be appropriations, financial planning, select board, of any article discussion, and the links would be there, and all you had to do was click on them. So there were many, many places that you could get information about our articles for. The warrant, you voted on it, it was April 9th, I believe, right? The official warrant, and we didn't know what was gonna come off at that point and what was gonna come on, but yeah, I mean, I'm with you, like, let's get that information out, but we worked really hard at that this year.
In the old days, did they mail the warrant to all the voters?
I don't know.
I wonder if any towns do that. Okay, anyway, Susan Sartori.
Just real
I
quick
see-
on that, it was made available online as of the 2-week deadline, I think, or whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you would have to know how to get there, but like, people could have got it online.
Yes, yep. Oh, gosh, yeah. We had everything online.
Senior citizens got
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we had them at the senior center. I can't say that positively.
That's a good idea, though.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
a bunch
I'll
at the
write that
library, a
down.
bunch here. Okay, Susan Sartori, would you like to make a comment?
Yes, please. Susan Sartori, 465 Green Street. First of all, I wanted to say that I thought you did a great media blitz, Steph. I think that you covered a lot of material and used the, social media, the audio, videos that you did in the library did a great job. If people wanted to know, there were places to find it. How you bring them there to find it is probably the next goal, because what you produced was great. But the reason I raised my hand is that having served on financial planning and having voted against a number of the articles, and then turning out that appropriations in the select board felt the same on many of them, and they were, we felt, what I think we need to do in the future, the way our town meeting is structured and the way we do business and governance, when we make a motion, we always do it in the affirmative. So that when you have a sitting body, elected or appointed, that has actually voted against something, I think we owe the people an explanation of why we voted against it. And we usually give the answer of when we recommend something. Yes, and it's in our booklet and our reports about why it is we did that. But we very seldom ever say why we did not vote on something. I think we could have brought a little more clarity to the meeting. I think far less people would have been popping up if they had heard the reasons. And that's what I wanted to add this evening. I think that's one small thing we could do to improve. But thank you for the time.
Well, thank you.
Great points.
Okay, Aaron's iPhone? Is this Aaron Hutchins by any slight chance?
It is, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Where do you live, Aaron?
91 Brigham Street.
Thank you.
So my comment this evening is really just, I would expect, I don't know if this is reality or not, but I would anticipate and expect that whoever the moderator is would be working very closely with the administration and all the different boards and committees months prior to the actual town meeting in order to have everybody on the same page about the presentations or the order of articles or how these things are going to be presented or who's going to be speaking. I think Susan's point is an excellent one. I've seen town meetings in the past where people have asked for rationale on dissenting votes and not being, and the reasons were not allowed to be given or weren't given for whatever reason. So I think there's a lot of things that could be streamlined in the preparation of town meeting. I view it as a very collaborative process, and I'm not sure that that's been historically the case. If I had to guess without asking all the individuals, I would assume that really the select board is the one that sort of manages 90% of the preparation work on this in coordination with the town administrator, and then the moderator picks it up, a couple of weeks before the meeting. I don't know, but it would be my hope that it would be a much more collaborative process so that when the meeting is presented in such a fashion where things have been streamlined or presentations have been sharpened and the moderator knows exactly how things are going to go, that the meeting would run much more smoothly. I also think that the moderator could do, whoever it is, again, could do a service to the citizens in being much more explanation-oriented as things go along. My personal opinion, there could have been some things that were said that weren't said to help the body understand what's happening. You had your questions earlier. What's a move the question vote? Not a lot of explanation there. It's very simple. It's very easy to explain if you understand. And I think that the moderator, could facilitate it. One small comment that I would have relative to, the things up on the screen. I think that the formatting on that needs to change. I think that we can improve the visual on the votes and on the things that are up on the screen. I don't think you need to ask every board and committee what their up and down vote is. I think it can be displayed on the screen without having to go through the verbal confirmation every time. So anyway, my point is I think it can be a much more collaborative effort, and I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, that it's not that way currently.
Yeah, I was going to suggest also that, that going through every committee and saying what our recommendation was.
Yeah, I like that idea, putting it on the screen.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, any other comments? I think I can, yeah.
Can I just give I wouldn't give the select board 90% credit. I know, I for one paid a lot of attention to what the Appropriations and Financial Planning Committee were doing. They did a ton of work. I really, especially the committee that this commenter was on, they asked lots of questions, got lots of answers, and I saved a lot of time having to ask the same questions by just watching their meetings. And they wrote very detailed reports that I read, and, I just didn't want to overlook, from my perspective, collaboration includes us looking at those committees, their advisory committees, they give advice, we look to that advice, and I only speak for myself, but I think we did do that.
Well, and in that vein, I think I can speak for the board and say thank you to the town clerk's office, who, wow, there was
Yeah.
a lot of work, the unseen work
Right.
that we don't realize. Even the people checking us in and checking the clickers beforehand. It's, I think we can collectively say thank you very much to all of that effort.
That reminds me of one little thing. Let's do a test beforehand next time, so we don't have any software update things that add extra options that aren't supposed to be there, like the abstain.
Oh, yeah, that
The
popped up.
absent,
Yeah,
that was,
Yeah, just
turns out
maybe.
that was just somebody, a few people.
messing around with
yeah.
the button.
I
No,
did
no,
it during the
no.
practice.
I did.
We were doing, and
We were checking because on the clicker it was registering as a third option, where before they would just not register.
Okay,
And anyway, just before day of,
yep.
do a technology run through just as on the to-do list would be my recommendation on that.
yeah, I have high confidence the clickers did their job. I just think we had an option on the third one that wasn't labeled.
Yeah, abstention. Angie just emailed me, she said on 4/13, all town subscribers got the warrant, they got the mock town meeting link and every explanation on the warrant articles.
Yeah, but that's all town subscribers. And I think you might have brought up something about the code red. If there was a way we could ask people if they want to get texts for things like town meeting, was it?
Well, she does have that, and they do have to click off what they want. They have to, because, for instance, some people don't want any of this information, they just want emergency information, so.
And so I think last year we used code red to tell everybody about town meeting, and there were some people who were upset. They,
I know,
So-
that's a hard one.
Phone call,
we
right?
Yeah.
didn't do it.
We did the phone call. Was that it?
Yeah,
That
but
people
not
were
this
upset?
year.
Right, we didn't do it this
Yeah.
year. But yeah, you're right. I would like the ability, as long as it doesn't cost us a lot of money. Sometimes text can cost money, but of texting out information, because I feel like that gets to people
Yeah.
and they're checking their text and like, oh yeah, town meeting, okay,
Yep, and she said the babysitting too. She did the same way as
Oh,
well.
okay.
And Ally said that she sent out, she said it was everywhere a month ahead of time. So, I don't know.
I have full confidence of getting the stuff done on timelines. It's just, how do you get it to people?
Yeah. How do you get it to people?
That's always been the fight, You put it in the newspaper, you put it on social media, you put it on blinking signs, you put it in the library when people go. Some people senior center, but it's just, yeah.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
I had a related question on that exact same point, because since there doesn't appear to be an information clearinghouse. Obviously, the law says post stuff on the bulletin board down in the front of the building that no one actually looks at. That satisfies the law for a lot of things. But I don't have the answer, but it would be nice if we could think about this, because I heard of some criticism about when we did adjust one of our votes Monday at our posted open meeting. Well, why didn't you tell us all that? And I'll confess, I thought about posting on Facebook about it, but then I was like, well, then only a sliver of the community is going to see it. That's kind of unfair to the rest of the community. How do we get it to everyone? And things are moving so fast, we got to Wednesday morning and we didn't get it out to anyone. This is maybe just a rare, unusual, I think it should be completely normal that the select board can reevaluate its recommendations up until the town meeting, but if we do change our recommendation and want to tell the people that we changed the recommendation, what's an easy, effective, fair way to push out that information so that we could do that in the case, knock on wood, that it happens in the future?
I guess we could do that through, exactly how Angie emailed all subscribers, but they have to be subscribers. So another thing I wrote down is advocate more to subscribe.
Right. And I
So-
Yeah.
think that's
The other thing is, the signs looked great, but the signs went up when school was on April vacation, right? So parents weren't driving their kids to school to see the signs, and I think those signs have to get out 2-3
But then
weeks.
sometimes you just ignore them. If they go up way too early, you're just like, just like something else. And if it's more like, ooh, what's that sign? Like a week or two ahead of time, then.
Yeah, but wasn't school vacation just the week before town
Was, they
meeting?
put them up on April 16th.
So, you get a lot of parent traffic at those schools where the bulk of the signs were. And they didn't see it at all until the Monday when they got back from vacation, which was town meeting night.
Yeah, or if possible, maybe like banner signs, like up, I'm thinking about like
Oh, I
the
love
fence at
banners
Lincoln Street.
across 20.
Well, there's that. I mean, like, like
Oh, really?
the fence on Lincoln Street School.
Oh, I know
If
what
you
you
had
mean.
like a larger sign about town meeting, rather than sort of like the kind of campaign sign sized ones that we have out.
Let me see. Let me see
we
if
have
that's
the
legal.
Check everything to be legal.
So, Steph, was the childcare done was that posted on the Northborough Town Facebook page?
Okay.
I think that's where I saw
Yeah?
it. Or maybe it was Rex.
It was, yep, she said Facebook. Where is she? Hold on.
I mean, these,
And I think,
she
I could
texted me.
search, but I think I got an email too.
Okay, she said, we sent out several emails for about a month ahead of time. We also put it on social media weekly and the Facebook page. It was a program that people had to register online for everyone. I talked to, she must have been talking into her phone. I talked to her and knew it was there. They just had other things going on and couldn't attend town meeting. It was also reposted on Northborough pages from our social media. It was definitely out there. That's what she said. Sorry, I'm blasting you, Ally, right now.
yeah, I see them posting like from Northborough Rec, that, I see it now a little bit more clearly, but it's just not as prompt.
And Angie
our
also
phones
did
are
it
listening
through
to
all
us.
subscribers. She did the babysitting. So if you guys should have seen it, if you're subscribed, you should have seen it.
That's why I'm wondering how maybe I just
missed
missed it. Maybe I just missed
How do I
it.
subscribe to what?
I'll send the
Subscribe to
link.
Rec? Because I think I'm subscribed to like all the boards and committees.
Let's see, can you send subscriber? Oh, she said it was on town Facebook too.
The only thing I see on our Town of Northborough page is that it was canceled. I don't see anything that says childcare provided from there, just it was a repost of canceled.
Maybe they took it down.
Well, they did. I took it down because, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, something to
We gotta figure it out.
reconsider.
Yep.
But, John does have a good point. A lot of kids have to go to bed early. So,
It's fair.
Yeah.
Fair point.
I'm not sure it's a silver bullet that we think it is.
okay, anyway, are we ready to move on
Sure.
to number 5, Economic Committee
Can I
discussion?
just ask one question, Madam Chair? I don't know if the board would entertain. I see we have Lori Connors presenting an item.
No.
Is she still waiting?
We're going to
No,
pass over
she's
that.
gone.
Oh, okay.
We're taking that, that's gone.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
thank
Sorry
you.
to interrupt.
That's very considerate. Okay, so Economic Development Committee. This is something that was asked for in the master plan, MPIC. We started having a discussion about it, and now it's on the agenda again.
I think it was November 5th is when I sent out like a template of.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you want to take over here, or?
Well, I think we all, well, I wouldn't say all of us, but I think a lot of us wanted it, but it was the when and the hows and who, so that was the only question we were still kind of mulling through. I mean, the proposed committee composition I had was local business owners, commercial property reps, residents with expertise in economic development, finance, marketing, or planning, representatives from relevant town boards or committees like planning board, zoning, master plan, implementation committee. Yeah. In the charge, I had advised select board and TA on strategies to support business retention, expansion, attraction, identify opportunities to improve Northborough's commercial and industrial areas, collaborate with regional economic development organizations and the business community, support implementation of master plan recommendations related to economic vitality, promote Northborough as a welcoming and business-friendly community. But other than that, that's where and then we were just kind of talking about, I guess, more so strategizing goals.
One thing we didn't have on that list that just came in my mind, I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but obviously the select board we generally are general policy type people. We make general policies about this or about that. It would be, on one hand, it would be nice if they could think of good general policies to recommend for the select board to consider in this space to promote economic development. On the other hand, the flip side to that is, I had asked previously if there was a way that this would just be a committee that advises a town administrator, and if we could reduce the administrative burden of the committee by having it be created in a way that makes it not subject to open meeting law. Not that I don't want things to be open to the public. I absolutely do want them to be able to be transparent or whatever, but being subject to open meeting law adds a degree of burden for any committee. Just,
Say what you're saying, I'm sorry,
so if they have a hybrid meeting, they have to spend 5 minutes reading a script at the beginning of the meeting, that sort of thing.
but what did you say, like an
it's
advisor to
in
the
just-
town administrator?
It's my understanding, and Steph, you can clarify if I'm wrong.
So like a
about this.
working committee?
There are groups that can be formed by the town administrator that help the town administrator do her job, that don't have to be subject to open meeting law. And I'm just asking, and maybe the answer is no, but would it make sense to make it be that kind of thing, just to reduce the administrative burden of it? Your meeting minutes, everything else like that aren't nearly as strict.
Or just to start.
Yeah.
And eventually, maybe it does become a town committee. So, yes, John.
I'm looking at Westborough's charter. So Westborough was not established by town charter. It was created by town meeting vote. So I think it accomplishes some of the things that you were trying to do and not make a committee.
Well, then that would be a town committee.
Well, I'm just telling you how
Did they budget it?
This isn't the biggest priority.
they do. They pay someone.
Whether
So
it's
we
a
could do
subject or
without
not.
it, but to Jacob's point, it gets away from the committee perspective and maybe makes it more of something that doesn't make it as.
Oh, see, I think it would make it more linked to OML if it's in the charter as a town
Yeah.
committee.
Yeah, if either we create the committee to advise us, or if the town certainly
Right.
creates it. My understanding is those are definitely gonna be OML bodies.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to avoid OML, I'm just trying to, if it's something that can be done more streamlined and efficiently, without having to do all the extra things that take extra time. But if I'm not trying to overthink it either.
Could we start with maybe doing some research on towns that are further ahead of us, like Southborough and Westborough that have been doing it for a while?
I looked at that. I don't know what's going on in Westboro. I couldn't find any recent minutes, but Marlboro's the one to look at.
Yes.
They got a big thing going.
Yeah, they're a machine.
Sorry?
Yeah, they're a machine. They have a great economic development committee.
Yeah. But they're a city, so.
Yeah, it's different, right?
It is a little different.
And they have
but-
their own economic development.
Yeah.
And I guess, maybe I'm talking myself back out of it. If you are going to have, as you suggested, local business owners, maybe just skip to the end and make it an open meeting law committee, because people may have questions, well, is so-and-so doing conflicts of interests and so like that, so.
Yeah.
Maybe better just to be on the I'm kind of having a conversation with myself.
Let us know how
We
that.
hear you.
Yeah, so let's talk about the charge of it, you know, like what do we want out of this committee? Because one thing that I think we all have to acknowledge is that small business is very different now than it was 15 years ago. And it's constantly changing, right? So how do we predict the future on that? I'm almost thinking that we need to talk to some specialists about,
I wonder if CMRPC does any.
you know, I was supposed to ask about that, and I will.
Okay.
I will ask CMRPC, but Stephanie, did Rich Carrera tell us that, or did he say it at a meeting, that he talked to either Select Board or Economic Development Committee? Because, you know, he does more than elegant banquets,
Oh,
right?
absolutely, yeah.
And so I was thinking if we had a panel of people like Rich,
Yeah.
Carrie Salwa, who
Yeah.
you were here when
Yeah.
she did that great presentation and kind of identified our strengths. And then, you know, maybe if Meredith would come, another person who I think could help us is the person who's head of the Business Improvement District in Hudson, how that works. So I don't know if these people would be willing to. I'm pretty sure Carrie would, and I could only imagine that Rich would, because
Oh, he
it'd be
would.
nice to think about what elegant banquets.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And what are the other thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. And just kind of thinking like, what would be just like the most simplest charge like this committee could have? And kind of really, to me at least, what it boils down to is a committee that's charged with growing, increasing, whatever word you want to use, the commercial industrial base,
Tax base.
tax base of Northborough within the character of the town, right? We
Yes.
don't want to necessarily become Marlborough, we don't want to become Shrewsbury, we want to stay Northborough, but we want to grow that commercial industrial tax base
Yep.
without, but within staying in the character of the town, right? So, I mean, to me, that would be sort of the absolute base charge that's what they're there to do, and then cultivate that, be a sounding board for that. Not everything may work within the character of the town as it gets vetted through boards, committees, the town administrator, the select board, but I think that's where the opportunity is, and make it town-wide, right? Like, we have a lot of existing committees that are focused in on downtown and downtown revitalization, but I would like a committee that's focused town-wide, right? The Route 20, the other ends of Route 20, Route 9, you know, trying to get, you know, we have a lot of empty storefront and empty space outside of downtown that if it's filled, you know, it's chipping away at it, but it's growing that tax base, and that's, to me, that's the key.
Yep.
Any other thoughts?
I like the way he put it
Yeah.
just now, yeah.
I have the creation of this committee aligns with the town's strategic priorities to strengthen the commercial tax base, enhance the business climate, and foster collaboration between local government, business owners, and community stakeholders as a
perfect.
part of it.
Laura?
I just wonder if in the charge we want to have some, like, I don't know if we can have like measurable goals. These are really good. I love the points, but how are we going to measure it? You know, is it going to be additional revenue, new businesses to town? Is it like,
Yeah,
what are the
those are all
measure-
good.
Like, how do we measure that is my only question. Just, I think coming at it new, I love the idea of doing a panel discussion just to get a little bit more clarification. But then really, as a first-time committee, giving really clear guidance so that we can measure if it's successful. And I don't know what those,
Right, I mean,
those
to
benchmarks would look
to your
like.
point, like, you just don't want a committee to exist that just
No.
kind of churns. And you never, you're not getting it, like, so what is a measure of success that this is working, or try something else?
Yep.
Quickly.
That's a good question for the panel.
On the topic of goals, I love the topic of goals, and I just want to, I don't know what the goal exactly would be, but I don't think only new development is the only goal. Retaining existing is obviously part of the goal too, because the loss of
Absolutely.
existing is equivalent to
Yep.
a negative
Or
as well.
investment in existing, right?
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And local support with one another, all the businesses, that's huge.
Maybe
Yep.
creating like, and maybe do an event, I don't know, or an event, but like doing something to pull together multiple businesses so that they can, like, maybe a networking event once a year
Yeah.
for businesses. Just something that's measurable.
Well, and as I've been out and about, like I've talked to more than one business owners who maybe have come here more recently, who are like, yeah, I'm looking for a way to get involved in the community and support the community and maybe do an event for the community or sponsor an event for the community or whatever, but I don't even know who to talk to. And currently it'd be like, talk to Steph or whatever, but, or I say the Community Affairs Committee, but like this would be the committee to talk to, it would seem like.
Yeah, that's
Right.
great, yeah. Well, that's where North Borough Stroll came from, so, I mean, it's more so residents could realize what they have for businesses around them. But with that, we have that connection piece now. We have, people that we can reach out to directly. We have their email, so it's a starting point at least.
Okay, any other thoughts on, okay, so we'll talk specifics about a panel or
Yeah, that's
something
good.
like that.
Yep.
Okay, all right, then we're ready to move on to, so we're not going to do we're moving on to 6. So let's
Okay.
get the fire chief update.
Yes, fire chief update, that's coming along great. This past Friday, they just had the assessment center here. They used about 3 of our rooms and went through various exercises. And so now the assessors will have to gather their information. There were 5 people that were run through, very strong candidates, and they're going to analyze their information. I think he had 3 separate assessors for the assessment center. And then he's gonna put it together in a report and then provide it to me. And he'd like to narrow it down to 3 people to bring forward before the selectmen.
Okay.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah,
And-
and he thinks that will be easy enough after they go through all of their evaluation numbers.
Is there clear separation from the 3rd to the 5th?
Yeah, I think there would be. You're saying the 3 that he'd choose?
I'd say I'm open to 5 if there wasn't clear
Right,
separation.
well,
If there were
that's my
4
point.
if there
He
were 4
thinks there will be.
Yeah, if 3 are clearly separated. And remind me that, who are the 3 assessors and how do we pick them?
So it's John Parrow Consulting.
Yep.
And I don't know his assessors, but they're all very experienced. They partake in all of the assessments that, he has, other people have, because of their experience.
And what does an assessment entail?
So they did various, how to work with leaders in your community. So either the select board, the town manager, they'll have normal discussions with them. What would you do in this scenario? Then another question could be, okay, so there's a fire on this street, there's a fire on this street, you have X amount of men, your chief, how would you go about making sure that, these scenes are safe for your men and for the public? So there's all different scenarios that they put them through. Some are more so even like psychological, emotional, some are number-oriented, budgeting, like I said, relations with leaders in management, being head of a department, and what would you do if your staff member did X, Y, and Z. So just very interesting and pertinent questions regarding what a daily, occurrence could be in a chief's life.
Well, that's good.
It is really good.
Okay, any other questions for Stephanie? All right, the ARPA tree funding item, we've pretty much used up the money, so there's no discussion to be had about including,
Can I
yeah.
just make one quick comment?
Yeah.
Susie from Community Affairs had emailed us about tree, for the Neil Ellsworth tree for the lighting, and she put some suggestions about the location. Can we just make sure that if there is, I don't know if that would go through Lori or for you or for
You can
us.
send it to me,
Okay.
and I'll send it to
Oh,
Lori.
I'm
and-
sorry, you didn't get it. Okay, I'll take care
Or
of that.
send it to Lori and that'd be fine.
Okay.
Okay, and Stephanie, number 8, Lori wants to wait on the wayfaring signs grant.
Oh, I thought she said Amy wanted to.
Well, people
No?
want to.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I'm saying she was gonna come, she was ready.
Okay. All right, and then, so then we are moving on quickly to reports. Let's see, John, do you have a report?
I do. Let me pull it up. First, maybe a public service announcement that we have some election and debates on Wednesday and Thursday. So Wednesday is
At the library,
at the library.
6:30?
7 to 9 Wednesday? Is it 6:30 or 7?
I think we have to be there at 6:30, but I think you're right.
Okay.
7 to 9.
So, and then Thursday is at the, keep me honest,
High school,
high school.
junior women's club.
Junior Women's Club. So, I want to wish my fellow select members good luck. And I'm looking forward to the debates. I can't go Thursday, but I'll be there Wednesday as an audience member. So, annual town cleanup, big success. The Ray family did 8 bags. The Jacob John combo did 2 bags.
Where is not, I didn't know we were making that a competition.
I did it. So my daughter was motivated with her friends and did it. And I went across Amazon. It was like going into the eye of the storm. So I got about 100 plus nips. Many soda bottles with foreign liquid in it, capped, that I have to presume is urine. Because I didn't have to go to the bathroom, and so I was like, let's see what this looks like. So I did the Amazon piece on myself, but
Thank you.
it needs another
Did you
40
take
bags.
pictures?
I didn't. I didn't.
Can I comment? Are the people that are driving the trucks drinking?
I don't know. They're there.
This is
They're
concerning,
there.
like, more
The
concerning
nips,
than
the
the
nips are, there's a
parking.
high concentration of nips there. I don't want to presume if the truckers are drinking or high school kids are throwing there, but there's a very high concentration of nips, beer bottles that are there, and some that are neatly put in bags and thrown away as like organized trash. But it was a highly and there's still plenty of trash there to pick up if people are so inclined. There's probably another 30 bags you could do if you wanted to.
Did you possibly not let the police know?
I don't know if it matters, to be honest. I found nips that weren't there too. I found some nips that were closer between, like, where Route 20 is and Stirrup Brook is. We did that area, so we picked up some there too. So, but the highest concentration was where the trucks park.
Okay, what are we going to do about that? This is a constant problem.
I mean, I see empty nips and empty
Yep.
bottles. all
No,
over.
it's not.
know it's concentrated.
It's the concentration on Bartlett Street.
It's
That is the problem.
it's heavy concentration.
Well, I mean, there's littering fines, we could fine a person if we knew, I guess, put cameras, I don't know.
I mean, candidly, I do think you reduce parks trucking, you reduce some of the trash. Not all of it, but a good amount of it, I think. I think that the recent warrant that was passed is a step.
People have said like food containers and all
Yep.
that.
Yes.
For sure.
So does Amazon and FedEx and those places, do they have trash barrels for their people? I know they can't
No,
possibly
because
go-
they're not supposed to park there, so they don't have trash barrels. No,
But when they are able to go in, maybe they can throw away their trash up there.
I don't know.
This is really a problem, and and it comes up every town cleanup, but it comes up periodically.
Yeah.
And do we need signs to put up a fine for littering, or?
I thought he said there were signs.
I think the
for
no
littering.
parking with the fine sign is gonna be the most powerful deterrent to not do things. I think people
Yeah.
inherently know not to litter. I think if anyone that's drinking in a vehicle in general probably doesn't wanna drive around with the empty container. That creates more problems for them if they get stopped by the police, or if they forget it in there and someone finds it, like, so there's a motivation to get out of your vehicle, and we're seeing that a lot of it ends up our way.
Well, thank you, and we'll see what happens with the no parking, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but also, future agenda items I'd like to put on, I'd like to discuss combining appropriation and finance committee.
Oh, yeah,
So that's something I'd like to tackle.
okay.
That's gonna require a town meeting vote, so we'll have time to do that. And then, just lastly, the release of the White Cliff minutes.
Oh, yeah, should we do that? We can release executive session on White Cliffs now. Wanna
Not
wait a
until the
little?
lease is signed.
Yeah, sign the lease first, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
When
so-
will we sign, do you think?
The zoning article, we have to wait for the AG's office to approve it, because of course, if it isn't approved, then the lease isn't approved without proper
Yeah,
zoning.
yeah, my assumption was it wasn't to be done now, just in the future, because the signatures just got approved, so I assume the signatures for all three documents that need to make their way through.
Yeah, yeah, so I told Damien, I'm like, notify me as soon as you get the information. It usually takes a few weeks at least, but, yeah.
Okay, we'll have to be careful on that because a lot of it is combined with other things, so we'll have
That's
to
what I'm saying,
redact
yeah.
and,
Yeah,
It often came paired with St. Gobain, and I don't know if we're done with that one yet, or.
yes,
Not asking for an update, but like.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else, John?
That's my minutes.
Thank you very much. Jacob?
Thanks. We did a walkthrough earlier, let's see, last week. The Fire Station Building Committee, it was just more of a site walk for the current condition of the building. It's moving along. I know. We're gonna actually have a Fire Station Building Committee meeting that's coming this week, so we'll have more to report at that point. But, I mean, as far as the site walk goes, the things looked like they were where they were supposed to be and coming along. Any questions specifically I could answer to anyone about the construction? I'm not a construction expert.
Are we on schedule?
No one's told me we're not on schedule. I'm gonna get a closer and better answer to that, I think, at this upcoming meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know when the road tunnel work is gonna start?
They are waiting for, someone asked this question, and I remember the answer was, we're waiting for one more approval by one more bureaucrat somewhere. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean.
Sorry.
But that's kind of what it amounts to. And they said, we'll know that approval has been received once we see those front trailers being relocated, probably off to the side. Those are the administrative where they, do a lot of the work out of. So those trailers have to move for them to start digging and doing the things that they need to do for the drainage, to execute on the drainage plan. And so they said, the gating item on that is one more approval by one more person who they said it seems very likely it'll get approved. That's not the concern. It's just a matter of time.
Okay.
But that'll be, we'll all know together. That's what they said, that you'll all know because the trailers will get moved that day. And they do plan to start right away once they have the green light from the authority they need the green light from. I think it's MDOT, but I don't want to misremember.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, I'll just repeat what I said at the beginning of public comment about the Peasley Building Committee meeting tomorrow at 7 via Zoom. We will be getting our first look at building design options with preliminary dollar amounts. So this is usually when people start taking the most interest, is when you start talking about dollars. So so again, please attend, and those meetings are all recorded and posted, so those can be viewed after.
Great. Anything else?
No, I mean, I guess, obviously you wish luck to all the candidates running. I just think when we're sitting here in an open meeting, best to maybe wish that to all candidates and not maybe just our incumbents who are running. So just maybe to be careful sometimes of wording. I think that's important.
Okay, Laura?
Thank you.
I'd wish you luck too if you're running, Mike.
Right. Luck to, it's just.
I'm just,
as
we're
sitting-
together and.
Right, no, I get that, but as we're sitting here in open meeting representing the select board, just, we could certainly have preferences and can certainly make those known.
I wish
just
everyone
that.
good luck.
There you go.
All right.
And good help.
And good help,
And
yeah.
good
That-
Yeah,
that helps.
prosperity.
Thank you. First, I want to say thank you to everyone for the town cleanup. Thank you for that feedback and work on Bartlett Street. I'm still kind of shocked by that. I wanted to mention that the Northborough Trails Committee is having a build day on Saturday, May 9th at 432 Whitney Street.
That's my birthday.
Yay!
Just kidding.
They're gonna clean up the trails for you. That's the best birthday gift. But I know that there's been a lot of questions about what's going on there, so you can be one of the first people to help clear those trails.
On Whitney Street?
432 Whitney Street. They're
Oh,
barefoot
those
woods.
trails.
I know.
The property that we bought.
Yep. Yep.
Last
So
year.
thanks for clarifying. I just assumed everyone knew. And then, like my fellow colleagues had said, the election is up on May 12th, so don't forget that. And I just wanted to take a minute and say thank you so much. I've really enjoyed serving the town. I don't know if I can say it or not. In case this is my last meeting, I just want you to know how much I've enjoyed being a part of this. I've loved working with you, Steph, and with your team. I've loved the subcommittees that I've gotten to be a liaison to. I've got so many notes of the things that I've learned along the way, and it's just been it's been a fun experience, and I especially love all the residents that I've gotten to work with. And there's just so many people, so thank you, good luck, happy election day, and that concludes my reports.
And just, I don't know if I can say this or not, but I really enjoyed serving with you, so.
Thank you. It's been a really neat experience, so.
Okay.
Enjoyed serving
Anything
with
else?
me.
Well, I don't know. I figured that one out. Try to keep it.
Sorry, I was just trying to not get into that.
Okay, no fooling around. All right,
Enjoyed
so
working with you
speaking
too,
of
Laura.
elections, Damien clarified for me today, according to Mass General Law, Chapter 54, Section 25B, there is no in-person early voting for local elections unless the Select Board opts in. So something to remember for next year.
Right, yeah.
Make sure we don't forget that.
Oh, can
Yes.
you repeat that some clear?
There is no in-person early voting for local elections unless the Select Board opts in. You know how,
Can I
like,
ask a
with
clarification on that?
Yeah.
So that's different from getting your absentee ballot and dropping it off at the town hall.
Yeah,
which you
there are
could
times
have
when
done.
there's voting machines set up here. And, you know, like for.
Can come in early and
Yeah.
vote on the machine.
Right.
Like if you weren't available on May 12th.
So the deadline to request an absentee ballot still hasn't expired, right?
There,
is it?
wait, there are still a few ways voters can vote prior to election day. They can vote absentee in person here at town clerk's office up until noon the day before the election, or they can request a vote by mail ballot until tomorrow,
So May 5th.
all right? So that's about town election. Then, I did ask for an update on the street tree project. Volunteers will be planting this is from Lori Connors, our town planner. Volunteers will be planting 30 trees this Saturday, May 7th. Meet at the picnic tables at the tot lot next to the town offices building at 8:30 a.m., and then disperse in teams to the various planting sites. Interested volunteers should bring their own shovel. I will disperse materials including instructions, trash bags, tarps, and stake kits. Trees will be planted on privately and publicly owned properties in and around Northborough Center. Key sites include the Brigham Street Burial Ground, the Kaiser Cemetery on Howard Street, Trinity Church, Housing Authority properties, and several other commercial and residential locations. And they do still need a few more volunteers, so if anybody could please make some time on Saturday morning. Also, I asked for an update on the MWRA and the Assabet River Bridge Multi-Use Trail Project. Stantec Engineering met with the Trails Committee on November 18th to discuss the conceptual design. Issues discussed included the inability of the bridge to support a paved path due to structural issues. The Trails Committee gave preliminary support for a stone dust path. Accommodating parking, seating, lighting, and planters were discussed. Stantec has been interfacing with police, fire, DPW, and the MWRA on the conceptual design. Next steps are to advance the plans, interface with Mass Historic District and utility companies, and obtain approval from MWRA. So Stantec is also working on pulling together an initial cost estimate. So that's the update on that trail. Back to election. So does anybody think we should have a sign at Melican saying,
Oh, that it's moved.
I think that's a good idea.
Oh,
since-
maybe, that's
Yes.
a good idea, yeah.
I definitely think so. We put the
You have like an
DPW sign
electro-
With the address, is it possible
Yeah.
to put the address in case, hope everyone knows what
Yeah.
the senior center is, but if someone doesn't, they
Oh,
want to
yeah,
put it
that's
into their
yeah.
GPS.
It's a really good call out.
Okay, Stephanie,
Yes,
you have a report.
no.
Seriously?
Seriously, I've been town meeting, so I'm like, that was my number one, yes, baby, so no.
Well, good job at town meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Just second that. Good job, Steph.
Yeah,
Oh,
awesome.
thank you
That
guys.
was a really nice job.
Thanks so much.
I loved how you lighten the mood. You had a
Yeah.
very like buoyant way when things, you know, you were presenting things and
Oh.
people would say things back. You're like, you had great responses.
Yeah.
It
Like,
kept
I
the
need
mood
a
light.
water, there's a lot of words here.
I know, but, well, I was just recovering from my cold, and I'm like, I was praying I wasn't gonna have a coughing attack, and I didn't. I took, I'll do a Desalim or something, it was amazing. If anyone has, it was a 24-hour cough medicine, it was amazing.
Good to
Yeah.
know. All right, public comment. Lisa?
Lisa Maselli, 13 Maple Street. This may be my last in a while. I had two things I want to say. First, since Article 40 did not pass, I'd like to request that the Complete Streets money be used on a different location. There is a Davis Street neighborhood that has a connection to Proctor School and has been asking for a sidewalk since 2018. We have all the paperwork on it already. It's all, I think it would be a better use of the funds, and it's already on the list of projects under Complete Streets. So it's already in place. It's one of the 25 projects that was on Complete Streets. So I've researched the policy on the Complete Streets and learned that they will certainly entertain project changes as long as they are on the Complete Streets list. So all you would have to do is write a letter saying, well, we had a town meeting, things changed, we'd like to change that as well. So the work on the War Memorial on Pearson Hudson already has granite edge sidewalks, lovely trees along the green area with a parking lot. You'd only need to sign and paint the lines. That would only upgrade the area that and grass. So there really isn't a huge need to beautify that area since it's pretty beautiful. And the second thing I wanted to say is thank you very much. This board has been great. I love the policy of letting public comments, as I know many other people do, because very few people attend, but I think it's the best thing for getting the public a little bit more involved and wanting to be able to say things that they ordinarily didn't feel that way years ago. So you have come a long way, folks.
Thank you.
very much.
So can you talk to Lori and Scott about what would be the procedure for us to, like, do we vote on changing the Complete Streets
Yeah,
project?
I just wrote that down, yep.
Okay.
There's public comment online.
Oh, thank you. Susan Sartori?
Hi, Susan Sartori, 465 Green Street. I just wanted to put a plug in for the elections, and everybody, please remember the C School roof project. When you're out politicking, when you're out with friends, when you're at games this weekend, remind people, it's a really important project. We need that majority vote to get it over the finish line. So no matter what political persuasion you are, whatever your priorities are, please get out and vote for the Z School roof project. It's very, very important. The other thing I always found as a candidate, I didn't spend enough time with my mother when I was running. Spend time with your mother, find time to call her, and the gentlemen running and the women, let your kids have a little time with you too. And enjoy Mother's Day a little bit. It's very hectic right before the campaign.
Thank you.
Thanks for the reminder.
And if you haven't gotten your cards and flowers, order them.
Now that's a good.
But please get the vote out for the roof project. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so future agenda items, John already requested a discussion about combining financial planning and appropriations committee. Yep, you have one?
Yes, please. I don't know. So I've been going back and forth about 4 West Main Street, and I know we have the RFPs and we have the responses that we're reviewing. But now that we have White Cliffs off the table, which was originally proposed to be Town Hall, I just wanted to mention it may warrant us just taking another look at those results, because it is town property in the center of town. And if that seems like it might be a more cost-effective option, I just think we should look at it again. And I don't know what that's gonna look like, but.
Wait, sorry.
So town offices were originally, the first choice from the feasibility study was White Cliffs.
Okay, so you're saying bring town offices to 4 West Main?
Just to look at that result once more. Cause.
Okay. I'm just thinking, that would be,
A big change.
it would just be a lot of money.
A lot of money.
A lot of
Okay.
money.
I was looking at the
And then
magnitude.
think we have Peasley School and then
Yeah.
Melican's like behind it.
We were explicitly asked that by an audience member at town meeting. And I think some of us, not all of us, because I couldn't see, but some of us were like shaking our heads no. I
Okay.
think that was sort of the understanding. I don't know, but I know that directly came up, and it seemed like the questioner, when she walked away, seemed to get the answer that no, we were not considering it for town hall.
Yeah, it would just be a major project.
Okay.
And the reason, trust me, yeah, I want to get the carpets replaced again, and I'd love to get it painted, but honestly, we can live with that.
And I think a couple of reactions to that. I think one, we chose to go out to RFP, and I think
Yeah, okay.
that's and then
Yeah.
the second reaction is, this being a historic building qualifies for CPC funds, and I would love to see new carpets,
Yeah,
painting,
me too.
some investment from CPC funds make its way into investing in the town hall in a way that makes it more enjoyable for the people that work here.
Yeah.
Per the rules, I think they have to be vintage, so they'd still be ugly, but they'd be.
They have to be olive green now. That's fine.
And I wasn't trying to bring up a controversial point, but it is something that,
No, it's
It came to my
it's a good
mind.
suggestion, and I honestly, I would love to be there. I'm one, some people think the building's so ugly. I love that building. I don't know why, I just do. I think it looks like a town hall. So I'd love to be there, but the money that it would take to actually set up separate offices, you'd have to gut out and rebuild.
I'm just looking at the cost of what we're probably gonna be looking at for Peasley, that's a lot. The cost for the
Right,
fire department
that's what I'm
is a
saying. So
lot.
it's like, that's so far down the line that I'm not saying never, I'm just saying not now.
Okay,
Well, there is a lot of sentiment in town, like, can we take another look at it? And I think one of the numbers we would need to get is if we sold this building, because I think any, expert we've had has said that this would be more, would be
Housing.
sellable for housing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you got $20 million for this building and could put it into that, but we don't know the number that we would get for this building. And by the way, you did mention that we're getting
Appraisal.
an appraisal.
Yep, and we need an executive session on that soon. We should be getting the results very soon.
Okay.
So probably, I would say one of our June meetings, maybe our first June meeting.
Okay.
That would be great.
Susan Sartori, did you have another comment?
Susan Sartori, 465 Green Street. I thought I was checking out for the night. But we have a capital plan for a reason. And all of the capital projects are in it. And Jason Little works really hard to
Yeah.
forecast out what that's gonna look like for our planning. And right now, keeping 4 West Main Street and renovating it is not in that plan. The plan to do the renovations in the building you're sitting there, that is in there. We are going to need to work very hard next year within the confines of that plan that he has for forecasting. Now, if some people want to kick this down the road and start up a discussion again, we're gonna be in a bad place planning for next year, and we're gonna you had a tough time putting it together this year. It was a lot of scraping, and it was a lot of hard work. I think we better start off with the plan we have in hand. That's the way I look at it. I know some people would rather be in that old building that really isn't the old building, but we've got to move forward. We don't want to lose teachers. We don't want to lose safety staff. If we're not smart, we're going to lose things that we value an awful lot. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Okay,
So let's not put it on a future agenda.
well, you know,
Can I just put in my 2 cents there? The information was covered in the feasibility, town hall feasibility study. It would be worth recirculating that, just, partly so we all have that information on top of mind when people ask the question. And then, it's worth looking at the numbers and challenging the numbers, and do we think those numbers are accurate? But I'm not saying make a whole agenda item out of it, but I do think it's worth us knowing the answer to those questions, rather than just saying, oh, someone else made the decision several years ago. And I agree with the commenter. My personal view is, I don't think that that's a feasible way to go forward, but it doesn't take a whole lot of time to go dust off a report that's not that old, and just refresh ourselves on what's in it. I think that's a responsible thing to do.
Okay.
definitely. Okay, any other future agenda items?
Just one last one quick. If some point maybe early on in the agenda, I think it might be useful, especially for the Peasley Committee, getting into a lot of the meat of decisions and going over information. So there'll be a lot of important meetings, rather than stealing public comment time. If maybe there was a recurring agenda item on the agenda for Peasley, at least for a period certain. Just throwing that out there, rather than
Sure.
sort of
Easily updated.
stealing the public comment time.
Yep.
All right, I have 2 things for a future agenda item. And Stephanie, I emailed you and Scott about this today, about, I'd like all of you to walk downtown between now and next meeting and see how those ADA ramps have really.
They're terrible.
They're all broken. Well, not all of them, but.
Well, no, I think you could safely say,
Oh, really?
well, I can't think of one that's really,
There's some that are like shattered.
I was walking downtown, and there was a giant sharded chunk of it laying there that didn't look safe, so I took it to dispose of it. It was like, well, this does not belong. It was like, could be, it was not good. And yeah, we've talked about this in the past. Where are they? On all the MDOT,
like.
on all the
in
highway.
immediate downtown area, walk from, like Avidia Bank down to the pizza shop and across the street and take a look.
It's I don't know what material it is, but it's some kind of polymer or some plastic
Yeah.
of some kind.
It's something that doesn't work
that
in
like is
New
supposed to
England.
adhere
Something that
to the
doesn't work.
Right.
And so when they replace it, it has to be with something that works. So Scott has been in communication with MassDOT. This is their thing. So next meeting, I want to discuss whether it would be beneficial if we, as a board, wrote a letter to MassDOT and to our state legislators. What could hurt? I mean, it's,
Makes sense.
There's a spot in front of one of the gas stations that's like literally like a triangle, and it's really hard for people to go over. But then while you're down there, go check out the new sidewalk over on Monroe Street, which is very nice.
very nice.
It's like do a nice little loop, but yeah, the sidewalks downtown are definitely in some rough shape.
Yeah.
And would anybody be interested, so you know how there were some articles of, we're using this money that was appropriated in 2008 or whatever? I think we talked about this before. Could we know how much money has been appropriated that we,
Yep, yeah, you're saying past capital,
yeah.
Seems like
What am I
Jason gave
saying?
us a
Past
report.
yeah.
Let's get the updated
That's
one,
good.
maybe.
Yeah, on that vein too, can we also look at the revolving fund and get comfortable on that? Because we hit our department budget and by default, everything goes into that revolving fund that we don't have any visibility to.
Sure.
Yeah, which one?
The firefighter
The
one?
fire?
Yeah.
So Jason will have to come to our next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I know.
All right, then. Any other business to come before the board? All right. I don't see any hands. All right, then. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, motion to adjourn.
Second?
Let's do roll call. Laura?
Aye.
Jacob?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Meeting is adjourned at 9:43 PM. This is a record for us.
Thank you.
That's good.